Genie grind and watch him get rich, huh? Remember when I said I hit a lick, huh? I don't really wanna fuck the bitch, what? Willie went and made another hit, okay, like Prada on my motherfucking kid, huh? Louis on my motherfucking hip, huh? Curry how I dunk, no switch, hey, fucker gonna fuck that bitch, hey, if you ain't gon' fuck with me, you a dumb fuck, put up a hit but feel like one punch, look at my bank and I'm getting dumb rich, and I'm gonna count it up till 100,
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am What If Study, and today we are doing What If Deku was Cupid, Part 1. So, to begin this story, we bring you to the Tellers of Time. Sassy black women, which I would be called racist for trying to do their voice, so I will not be doing that. However, in the light of it, try to imagine, right? Long ago, when the pantheon was populated by hundreds of people, shared to the public of all who were considered gods or godly. Those who produced godly results or did godly acts were considered heroes and gained their way all the way up to the pantheon. They were allowed to do whatever they liked there. In the godly pantheon, there were 10 true gods that were there since the beginning of time. Once it reached to hundreds, Zeus found it was too crowded. Too many people that were not real gods. Only heroes among men. One of them an archer, one of them a swordsman, and one of them a berserker. The other, well, he was simply just there to see Aphrodite, see her beauty, and acknowledge the fact that all of the gods are there for a reason. He understood what the gods wanted. He understood what they needed. What they needed was a messenger. So instead of joining, when he joined their party, he joined as a spy to the gods. And, well, ratted them out. And ended up getting them all killed, as the gods of the pantheon struck all other heroes that tried to join the pantheon. They struck down every single one in their way. As this massacre continued on for hundreds of years, as the gods did struggle. However, once the final hero was slain, Cupid was still left. He agreed to be the slave of Aphrodite, as that was his only way of living again, as she had noticed that he taken interest in him. As she picks up the archer's bow, his best friend who he had betrayed. He had never meant to. He had tried so hard, only for it all to be taken away. He looks up to Aphrodite as he walks off. She curses his heart to link him to her. He begins a following. A slave ring that Aphrodite began. The love slaves, men that had came for Aphrodite, however, were turned into nothing but husks of what they once were. Cupid, leading one of them, had held on to his heart as long as he could. However, the curse took over. The curse was a box-shaped heart that went around your heart. If your heart was to go out to people, whoever it goes out to will be locked inside of it too. As such, it'll become a mutual design. If you die, they die. So whoever you love will die once you die. This made many obsess, and many tried to escape, as Deku had shot Aphrodite through the heart, betraying the gods, and was shot from Olympus as all of the slaves bust out from the main place of the pantheon, as all of the gods try to hunt them down. However, the gods now finding their power obsolete compared to the new technology of the humans, they retreat back up to their heaven, leaving Cupid to pick up the bits. As Cupid crashes down, Bravo Team 6, the most, stealthiest squad. Not only that, they were also trusted with interrogation meetings. Meetings where you would do multiple people at the same time. Such incredible work, and also deadly people. As, they're generally feared among the whole entire, military. Bravo Team 7 would always go towards, any sort of villainous activity, and they would destroy whenever. They had a grenader, Michael, the point man, Lions, and what was his name? They had a sniper too. His name was Lawrence, I think it was, and Lawrence spots something on it, like glare on his scope as he looks up and sees a star shooting down from the sky and lands in the jungle next to them. As all three men walk forward, the doctor, Lindsay, grabs onto the sniper's shoulder as he freaks out a little bit, as he's like, "Don't scare me like that." She's like, "I'm sorry, but what was that?" He's like, "Calm down. It was just a star. Well, maybe it has some precious metals in it." As Lions comes forward, he's like, "If it has that, we're not gonna fight over it, right?" This time, as both of them butt heads, the sniper and the other guy. As they huddle their way over, they start to notice that the farther that they get into the forest, the more, peaceful it begins. When they tried to take out the lions, the lions instead just stared at them and almost let them pet it. Everything in the forest had become, happy. This whole forest, no mosquitoes bit you, nothing continued. It was just a peaceful paradise. And as they walk towards closer to the crash site, they come into the burnt part of the forest, where trees have been cut down, and clearly, this was the crash site. As Lawrence picks up his rifle and scouts out the area, he finds no sources of life except for one badger. As the badger sees them and then runs into the little cave that was right next to him, the point man, Lions, walks forward with his fiery hair. He says, "It's just a badger. What are you all scared about?" As Lawrence is like, "Don't you go, you idiot!" As then Lions, walks into the cave, and he's like, "Holy shit!" As all of them follow him, fighting themselves in a den of maybe 10 lions. 10 tigers, 1 lion. Basically, the whole entire forest, every single species from the whole entire forest, crowded around one body. An angel, a man with wings, and a bow on his back. He was naked, and yet he looked like a child. They're like, what should we do? And Lions is like, you know why I got my nickname? Because I've slain hundreds of lions. However, if we were to make any moves right now, we would be dead in 2 seconds. We don't have enough bullets for all of them. At least not in our clips. As, he just says, "Everybody, maybe that man has a quirk that allows him to control the lions." As then this monkey comes down and fumbles around his neck. As he's like, "Oh shit." As it starts like tickling him. As he starts laughing, he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm dead." As then all the lions, they come around and then just they like rub up against him. He's like, "It's like a house cat." As then all of them are like, "What the fuck?" So he makes all of the lions nice? What the hell? As all of the rest of the forest comes and crowds around them, even elephants, huge explosions start to sound as, just gigantic beings in general. An elephant with a growing quirk comes up and guards the front of the cave as all 4 of the people walk in and sit next to the man. She quickly gets him clothes that she had in her little med pack. Bandages, barely anything to hold him. However, he's a child, so he's in the body of a child, basically. As he starts to awaken, he finds his first sight on the girl, a medic from Los Angeles that had no meaning to be on this mission. However, it's basically like they were hired as mercenaries by this point to guard her, and then they kind of forced her along this part. So she's kind of scared of the other guys, and he can sense that immediately. However, once he wakes up, he's like, "Ah, shit, female." As she's like, "Do you remember anything, kid?" As he says, "Kid? I've been around longer than what, 5,000 years? You dare call me a kid?" She's like, "Hallucination, I see." "Ah, this is bad." As he says, "Hallucination, don't even dare." As he finds the bruises on his back, and then a lion comes up and, brushes up against his arm as he pets it calmly. He said, as she like is terrified of the lions, he says, "Don't be. Come, put your hand on its fur. Make sure to stroke with the fur. Never stroke against. Then maybe you should be terrified." And she's like, "I'd rather just not pet at all." "Nonsense. It's so fluffy." As then he like lays down on his head on the lion. As then he gets comfortable, and he's like, "Oh, excuse me about having no clothes. They don't really consider that much on Olympia." As she's like, "Olympus? You mean Olympus, right? Either way, that's preposterous. Olympia is a different place, but other than that, you're saying you come from Olympia?" "No, Olympus, you're right. They just call it Olympia up there." "You must be joking." As all the rest of the guys are like, "Okay, so he's hallucinating, basically." He says, "I am definitely not hallucinating." So they're like, "Okay, so then could you like use this quirk to get us out of here, because that elephant is guarding the front door." As then he leads them outside of the forest and lets them go. As they're like, "Hey, if you want shelter, you could just tell the lady." As all both of the dudes are like, "We can't exactly shelter you ourselves, or we don't even want to." And by this point, he doesn't even know how to live on Earth, right? He doesn't get it. So basically, he's like, "I could be of use to your line of work." As they're like, "Trust me, kid, you would not be." As he's like, "Nonsense. I can do so much." They're like, "You look like a kid. Our work is usually interrogations." As he says, "What's an interrogation?" As they're like, "Oh my god." So basically, fucking Cupid is given the rundown on, the whole entire mercenary kind of gigs, and also the military life of a general, general interrogator, and how it fucking sucks, and how if he was to join their crew, then he would have to have an interrogated, relying quirk. He says, "Why do you keep on saying quirk? I have a power, and it's able to make my bow, my arrows, make people love me, or love whoever they see, first sight at least." They say, "That's super weird, but I mean that's useful." As then the sniper guy brings out his compact bow and gives it to Cupid. As Cupid's like, "I mean, all right." As then he fires with it, and he's like, "Whoa, this shit is awesome." As then he's like, yeah. Try shooting it with an actual arrow now. Giving him, instead of the wooden arrows that he was using before, the like metal, serrated tip ones. As he fires that and fires it through 3 different targets, he's like, "This thing, what do you call it?" They're like, "It's called a compact bow." He's like, "I need like my own personal one of this." As then he starts to get really, comfortable with the different mercenaries, especially with the sniper. And once he actually goes into civilization once more, he's got like his whole entire get up, he's got like a heart on his chest, all that shit. so many females around, like he can't look, because if he falls in love even once, because there's so many females, he could handle himself like around one, but he can't look at this many. It hurts. It makes him worry for them. For if he falls in love with one of them, well, they'll be locked with a curse with him. So then he wraps a bandage around his eyes, takes up a little, thing that allows him to, like, rips off a part of his clothes and wraps it around his eyes, basically. And what was his name? Lysander, the sniper rifle guy? Yeah, no. He was kind of his mentor throughout him learning how to fire, the combat bow, and learning how to use many different things, using exploding arrows. He actually introduced him to serrated arrows that, once they go through one guy's skull, they come out the other and then basically, burst into whoever they are in front of. And he's just like, holy shit. I guess my quirk isn't that great anymore because, well, now you can just kill somebody in one hit. However, Cupid was always a natural sharpshooter and was, known for shooting across messages past many different gods. His wings in these times, though, have been neglected, as he has not had any time to use them. So they go back out to Africa on the mercenary front, start doing their interrogations again, and Deku learns quite a few. Cupid learns quite a few techniques with his wings, because whenever he releases his wings, it's really fun for him. However, he has to get used to them again because of the curse. He gets much better at using them, and in Africa, he's become some people have seen him once or twice, but not known that it's like a guy with a quirk. They're like, is this like a fabled monster? They start calling it the Winged Wonder, like some shit like that. I don't know, in like Africa and stuff. However, it's just him. But then he starts to get really good at the interrogation stuff, because he makes people fall in love with him and then disclose the information by threatening to kill them as their lover, which is like evil times 10. But it works, and he gets really good at it. He also gets really good at the other missions that they do, sort of stealth ops and stuff like that, because he releases his wings in a sort of short-like manner, allowing him to go through shadows, really fast. Like he can dash with the wings. If he fully spreads them out, he can go faster than most modern day cars, like at a mid speed, like 70 miles per hour, which is insane at this point, because he still looks like a child, because his body is permanently stuck like a child. So when you see this child walk up in this interrogation room, you're like, who the hell brought the child? And then he's like, no, I brought myself. I can drive. Everybody always says that. Why? As then he's like, don't even joke with me. None of you bitches can make me talk, so just kill me already. As then he's like, no. That would be a waste of arrows, and honestly, they're quite expensive. I'd rather make you fall in love with me. As then the guy's like, what the fuck? As then he shoots him in the leg, in the foot, basically like arcing him to the ground. As then he picks up the guy's head. As then Cupid looks into his eyes, saying, do you really think you're going to make it out of here without telling me those secrets? As then he's like, holy shit, you look great. Want to go out? And he's like, only if you'll tell me the secrets. As the guy's like, oh yes, please. So he's like, great. As then, basically that's how he gets some information, but mostly it takes a lot more physical sort of stuff. And he gets to know the body a lot more from this point, because he's gotten a lot of experience from, different stuff like that. He's also learned echolocation, because he has to be blind half of the day. Other times when he's just completely alone, he can take the bandages off. However, he learns that actually relying on your other senses is actually better than sight sometimes, because it's like, in certain situations, you can do much more without sight. Either way, Cupid becomes known as sort of the African devil, as his group becomes super popular until they're interrogating some drug lords. However, that doesn't go well with All for One's business. As such, there's a bus, and there's a gigantic explosion in the prison that was holding the interrogatees. As they make their run for it, Deku shoots down 5 of them, shooting their feet into the ground, basically just dislocating their legs. Not dislocating, I'm sorry. Pinning their legs to the freaking ground. And he harms the other one. However, he had a hardening quirk on his skin, so that one just arcs straight off of him. Another one dodges it with bloodlust, which is also pretty interesting to him. He's like, oh, finally a challenge. As then he fires, he takes up 2 arrows and fires it up into the air. However, they don't come down until 2 arrows come straight to his sides, arcing straight into his rib cage, and then another one to his stomach. As then he falls down to his knees, trying and finds some of his bandages. He takes off his, what was his name again? Shigaraki. No, wait, the teleporting one. Kirigiri. Kirigiri walks up straight to his face and rips off his the band-aids on his eyes. As Kirigiri now is on the physical side. However, Kirigiri gets shot right off the collar. That was as the bullet arcs off of that and hits him in the face. As then Kirigiri just looks up to the sniper, and then Deku's like, Cupid's like, no! As then Kirigiri teleports straight back up to the sniper. As then he gets hit by the tip of his gun, and then the bunt into his stomach. Kirigiri, however, just removes that part of his body, puts both of his hands on his head, and then bashes his head into the tree next to him. Kirigiri teleports him above him so that he falls down onto the trees. However, he safely gets onto the trees, but Kirigiri dislodges the tree from the freaking ground using his teleporting quirk, shoving the tree onto the side of the building. As then the guy is starting to fall down from a 12-story building, Deku jumps off of the 12-story building, grabbing onto the guy, and sort of letting go of his wings, flying off, and then trying to take him off. However, the head wound is bleeding like crazy, soaking his band-aids are starting to soak up the blood from it. As Kirigiri tries to teleport them back to him, however, they get too far. Cupid has failed, and it's like the devil has been shut down. I'm returning to base now, as Kirigiri just whoop out there. So yeah, that's pretty much is part 1. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys sometime. Goodbye.